or even if you're a real estate investor, you might have asked yourself, I hear foreclosure a lot, but what's a short sale? A simple answer is short sale is a homeowner that owes more for their house than the current market value allows it to be put up for sale for. So, say you've got a home that you owe $400,000 on. The market has done a little bit of dipping in your area. You haven't been in the house maybe that long. So, if I look at the sales in your current neighborhood and comparables, I'm finding that your current home is only valued at 380,000, just as an example. And putting it on the market $20,000 higher than the market value would be very difficult for you to sell it. But you're still in a situation where you have to get your home sold. So that's an opportunity for you to call the bank if you're in that situation. The market has moved. Um, you've now inherited risk. So has the bank that is your lender. So you call them and you talk to them about a short sale option. So what does it simply mean? It simply means that your short sale mortgage is underwater. If you secure a buyer, you must get a bank approval to proceed with the sale at a price point lower than what is currently owed. So what we're going to talk about today is how short sale and real estate process works. It's very unique. There are special legal considerations. Where do you find short sale properties if you're looking to do that kind of thing? And tips to succeed where we have them. So let's get cracking. So, what exactly happens in a real estate short sale? So, that occurs when a homeowner is going to sell their property for less than the outstanding mortgage balance and has lender approval. This is typically initiated because there's financial distress or there's a required negotiation strategy. And the conversation that you need to have with the lender might make the traditional selling time period go longer than expected. So while the homeowner is avoiding foreclosure in this situation, the process can still have some credit implications and potential tax consequences too. Your lender is likely going to report the short sale to the credit bureau as a short sale. Homeowner may have to pay income tax on the difference between the purchase price and the unpaid mortgage balance, depending on how that is set up. Therefore, understanding the market conditions and the regulations surrounding the short sale is going to be essential for the real estate engagement for either an investor or an agent or a seller as well. So let's review the difference between short sale and foreclosure. Primary difference lies in the homeowner's involvement. In a short sale, the homeowner is still the one selling the property to avoid potentially going into a pre foreclosure or a foreclosure situation with the bank. If you get all the way to foreclosure, foreclosure is the legal process that's been initiated by the lender to repossess the property because of non payment. The short sale gives the homeowner some control still. It's gonna coincide with a pre-foreclosure action, but pre-foreclosure is that period before they actually take the full legal repossession of the property itself. During that time, the sellers received notification of pending action, and they've got a limited amount of time to list and sell the property. I can tell you, in the real estate world, it's not an ideal situation, but you can obtain a lot of listings by advertising yourself and specializing in as a pre foreclosure specialist. You should take the additional accreditations and classes so you understand the process, you understand the situation. You will have to adopt a considerable amount of empathy for the client that is selling their property. They're in a very difficult financial situation, and negotiations typically can get very heated, not just for them, but between them and the bank while dealing with the buyer. Everybody has to be mindful of how this is going to impact interest rates, how it's going to impact terms, etc. So we want to make absolutely sure that we can still obtain a clear title to be able to close on the property for the new buyer. So the timing is critical. Investors have to conduct some additional comprehensive research, some additional due diligence might be necessary. You'll need to inspect the property's condition a little more thoroughly than you typically would in a purchase scenario, just to make sure they're not inheriting some additional problems. If there truly is a financial difficulty in the household, chances are repairs are the first thing to get pushed to the side. Any kind of clouds on title, like outstanding liens, legal disputes, anything like that is going to pose some challenges to get things closed up. Now, how does a short sale work for, say, an investor buyer? Short sales, short sale homes are certainly more involved than a traditional home sale. It requires an amount of patience, coordination, thorough understanding of challenges that this type of sale entails. A seller needs to maximize the home's value, and a buyer or investor is going to try to seek an opportunity for a deep discount. Honestly, this is a fallacy. The investors can take advantage of severe dips in a market, and I'm talking about a considerable market shift. I'm not talking about 20 grand here. I'm talking about anywhere from 50 to $100,000 crash in the area. Someone in a real position that has been out of a 30-year mortgage, they've been paying 10 or 15 years into it. And now, unfortunately, they're in a situation where they can no longer afford their home, whether it be job loss or whether it be the loss of a partner or anything like that, that would change their financial dynamic considerably. As much as I would love to think that my investor clients are very heartfelt people and they're in this to be able to put people in a better position, they're investors. They are looking for an opportunity to capitalize on a bad situation for a client, and that's not their fault. Business opportunity should not be looked at as some type of evil magic. This is simply someone understanding that bad situations can often pose financial opportunity for them. Suppose you're working with a real estate agent during a buying and selling a short sale process. In that case, the agent's role is to bring the buyer and seller together, understanding that this is ultimately going to be up to the lender to decide whether the buyer's offer is even acceptable. We're going to look at a couple of scenarios and maybe give you some tips on how to navigate very delicate sales process. So there are some short sale requirements for sellers. Homeowners got to understand how to initiate the short sale process, really even before listing their home. They've got to discuss the potential for a short sale with the lender. The sellers have to prepare to provide documentations showing that they have a financial distress of some kind. They're going to be asked to show why they have no other resources to cover missing payments or fees or remaining mortgage balance if the home sells below what is owed. The lenders are not required to accept a short sale opportunity. Based on how the market is working in their area, they may just decide to open it up for foreclosure because the foreclosure costs are going to have to outweigh the financial loss. Some additional information that the lender might be requiring for the seller before they even agree. They're going to look for proof of a financial hardship, definitely a hardship letter and some type of application to open up a short sale process, copy of a purchase agreement if you have already procured a buyer for the property, most recent tax returns, pay stubs if those exist currently, some type of bank and retirement account statements to show what's the financial footing that the people are standing on, any other real estate that might be owned that could be leveraged to make right this situation. If they're a student, if they've got student loans, if they've got cars, if they've got personal debt, credit cards, balances, a budget worksheet will sometimes be worked through with the lender, and ultimately a CMA from a real estate agent and or a full appraisal will be requested so that the bank can just not assume that they're going to take over this situation. Sellers got to need to know, right? If you can't make a short sale You can't just make up a short sale to free up money to pay your revolving and consumer debt. That's not going to happen. If the homeowner is making on-time payments for their credit cards and their other debts, the bank might expect them to apply some payments towards a mortgage, not just default on their debt and not anyone else. So if the seller's got different assets, the bank might expect those to be sold first, cover the mortgage balance. If they don't, obviously, it's a true scenario of distress. I would love to tell you that all sellers are 100% honest with all of us, and they're not just trying to take advantage of something they're seeing in a market or something they've seen in a YouTube video that they might be able to leverage to save themselves some money. Um, Buying a short sale. Buying a short sale involves research, education, definitely additional due diligence. This is not traditional. Buyers that are looking to begin to invest in real estate need to understand that there's a huge risk, serious challenges to a short sale, extended deadlines from the seller's lender, and there are some other considerations you should take on too. You've got to do the market research. You need to understand the local real estate market. Make sure you're not just walking into an even worse situation. If this home or this community, if they is still unsettled and the area is still dipping, that has truly supported a short sale for this client. So not just their financial situation, that makes them sell their home, but now they have to sell their home for far less because the local market is still dipping. Meaning you're buying on the way down, you're not buying at the lowest point. These are things that you have to understand how to do. Financing. They've got to get pre-approved for financing just like anybody else. They've got to actually be able to demonstrate financial readiness to the seller's lender. And the seller's lender is going to know this is a short sale purchase. Um, Make sure that your buyer client is staying very honest with that. You're looking at several different extensions. You're looking at, you're going to put it under contract and try to push for a tight timeline, but it's not necessarily realistic. They've got to hire an experienced real estate agent. They truly do. They need to find a real estate agent that has experience in short sales for guidance, and their partners, title companies, inspectors. These are all people that need to understand how the short sale process works. If you can find a title company that understands how to put a short sale negotiator in play as well, there is huge value there to the buyer, and huge value to the homeowner in negotiating with the bank. Banks know what they're doing. Unfortunately, they deal with this a lot more often. So you're going to put yourself as a seller in a hardship situation already, in a scenario where the bank is now the expert and they know everything that they need to know to, sorry, banks, take advantage of the client. Patience. Here's something you can't teach. You need to recognize that short sales involve extended timelines. Negotiations will be continuous throughout. The seller, the sellers, potentially, the lender, all of these people are going to have to be super patient through the process. Everybody is going to be sitting on pins and needles throughout this entire scenario. Buyers agents pushing towards sellers agents pushing back, going, hey, it's out of my control. They don't owe me a timeline. They don't owe me an update every couple of days. They simply don't. They're the bank. They're in control. We all have to be very patient. Buyers agents that have not been involved in short sales or say that they've been involved in short sales don't typically follow that rule. Negotiating skill. Be prepared. Negotiations with the seller's lender and understanding that the lender approval is a critical step. Give them what they need. If there is a true market problem, they're already going to lose their butt. They don't want to lose it worse by going through foreclosure proceedings, paying for attorneys, paying for all of the additional processes. If they can get out of this sooner in a short sale opportunity, be prepared to show them where this is advantageous to them as the bank as well. Legal assistance. Please consider getting some guidance from real estate attorneys in this situation so you can navigate through some of these complexities. Real estate agents will not act in a legal capacity, nor are they allowed to. We can certainly let you know what we have seen. We can tell you about our experiences, but the experiences will also change based on the current market scenario. There are also some post-purchase considerations that are going to come later, but you need to plan on some repairs. You need to plan on renovations to address any issues that have been outstanding. Because truly, this is not a scenario where you're going to be able to walk in and request some repairs be made. They simply aren't going to be even considered. There is no selling client in a pre-foreclosure or short sale scenario that can entertain your nook and cranny problems that you're going to find during your inspection. And then contingency plans. You need to have a backup plan for potential challenges. Be prepared for a longer than usual closing process. And buyer agents, do yourself a huge favor. Don't put additional pressure on the people on the other end of this transaction. They're going through enough. They're not going to cover your expenses. They're not going to cover your aggressive timeline. They're not going to hurry and try to get this done and put more pressure on the bank. The bank is already agreeing to work with them. They're going to play the bank's game. Short sales can certainly provide some relief for distressed sellers. And again, please be reminded this can negatively impact their credit, but less than a foreclosure will. A short sale takes longer to close. It's going to still face some damage management and repercussions to a credit report. But there are pros and cons to getting this done when you're talking about a short sale versus dealing with a foreclosure. Short sale will allow the home to be purchased below market value, which means you're going to open it up to more buyers. Sellers can avoid negative consequences of foreclosure if they're able to adopt are opting for the short sale versus the foreclosure damage to their financial future. A short sale offers a lifeline to financial distressed seller. It does put them in a situation where they can sell their property and reduce their outstanding mortgage debt while not having to try to struggle paying the note any longer. The bank is in agreement that we're in a short sale process. They also understand that if you've already procured a buyer, you've done 90% of the work. The rest is agreement and negotiation. Short sale homes do often need some repairs, but far less than a foreclosure or an abandoned property. So there are some huge opportunities there as well. So the real estate short sale process. Now that you're clear on what it is, the pros, the cons, the indifferences of the bank, it's time to learn how a short sale should be conducted. Whether you're an investor buying or you're the one selling a short sale property, there are steps that must be carefully employed to ensure a successful transaction. Number one, and I'm going to put a lot of the onus on the current homeowner because they are going to be the person that the bank wants to negotiate with. Why? Because they're not the expert. And they're the person that went into the credit agreement with the bank when they purchased it. And I don't care if this is VA, FHA, or conventional, the process is the same. Number one, the homeowner must discuss the short sale option with the bank and jump through any of the hoops that the bank is going to tell them to jump through. It all begins with that conversation with the mortgage lender from the seller. This is not the same as getting a lender approval. This is an approval where a lender has reviewed the buyer's offer and agrees that the seller can proceed with the transaction. This meeting is so the seller learns more about the bank's short sale requirements than anything else. The lender might also provide a list of needs from the seller, and you got a short time to get those requirements in to even make the sale possible. Number two, real estate agents. You need to be prepared with your CMA and appraisal backup if necessary. A CMA is the report that's going to be prepared by you to determine the market value. What's the market doing? Is it going, if it is trending even further down, the bank is going to be a little more excited about getting invested now than waiting another 90 days for the client to get further behind, initiating a foreclosure proceeding, and then potentially sitting in foreclosure for 6 months to a year while they deal with an even more regressive market. Agents might also need to show expired listings, show homes that could not sell because of overpricing. The bank's going to want to see all of this to help them determine if this is less risk by entering into this agreement now. And then, of course, the home's got to be listed for sale. The home lists the home with an agent that begins advertising the property, or the seller lists for sale by owner listing. But the agent's got to disclose the short sale in a listing. It is legally required that if this is a short sale and there is a financial arrangement, then you need to mark it that way and you need to make sure it's in the paragraphs that way. The agent's got to disclose it everywhere. This is essential because some buyers thinking that they need to do a quick closing to move forward with their financial plans or with their lender may not be able to even enter into a short sale negotiation. Real estate marketing honestly spreads the word on this. Short sales that are marked with like a regular listing are going to get regular attention. Short sale is going to get it in a very aggressive eyesight, moving very fast. Agents can share the benefits of marketing options like this, but ultimately it's going to be the seller's decision. Um, Next step is be prepared for offers and be prepared for the worst offers you could possibly imagine. Short sale offers are discrediting, honestly. Buyers interested in a short sale are going to submit offers knowing that there are complexities. So when a written offer is accepted, the seller is going to present it to the lender for approval, recognizing the potential for rejection and a very lengthy short sale timeline. It's up to the lender to allow the short sale process, and the agents are going to have to carefully prepare and super document this scenario for the buyer side. Due diligence. Due diligence will be lengthy. It will conduct additional inspections, title searches, appraisals. Uncovered property issues will be well documented, but ultimately, the buyer needs to understand this is a non negotiable, regardless of the market and the situation. I'm also not going to come back with $30,000 in potential repairs because of a degrading house. And then sellers got to find suitable housing for themselves. Real estate agents, you need to help them. You have a responsibility. A short sale is going to take time. Landlords may not wait for your client to find a next property for them to live. They might require full or partial loan payments during a short sale process. Funds may not be available for a rental prepay. First and last month's rent may not even be a possibility for people. If the sellers can afford it, they're going to want to start paying rent in a new place, but they're not going to be able to just move in immediately. It is very unlikely that there will be net proceeds to the seller. 9 times out of 10, there is a mammoth loss. So they've got to have a plan of where they're going to go and how they're going to pay for it. Listing agents, selling agents got to figure this out early in the short sale process. Sellers might have to move in with friends and family for a while, rent a room at a motel instead until they're able to find a rental. Um, but defaulted mortgage payments are certainly going to damage the credit. So renting is going to prove challenging. So tell them to get started early in the process, if possible. All parties attending the closing. The buyer officially acquires the property. Agents receive compensation. Lenders retain the balance of the proceeds from the sale. Sometimes the seller's going to need to contribute some funds. Cover disparity between the selling price, outstanding mortgage. That is between them and the bank. But it'll all take place at the closing table. The closing will mark the culmination of the entire short sale process being completed, clear title transfer, solidification of the property ownership, and the completion of the financial process with the bank. If you're interested in walking through purgatory to buy a home, the short sale process, where do you find them? Honestly, people that are looking to invest specifically or not interested in doing a traditional mortgage and property purchase, they just want to try to find a deal, and this is the only way they're willing to invest in the market. Better be sensitive to when they're approaching sellers of short sale homes. Usually, these properties are listed, or they're advertised specifically as a short sale. Because remember, real estate agent has a fiduciary responsibility to be honest and disclose this in the beginning. So you should be able to find, if you're a Zillow or a Realtor.com hunter, you should be able to check a box that says properties listed for short sale. Doesn't mean it's easy, doesn't mean it's ready to buy, doesn't even mean it's in a condition to buy. But you need to be open and mature and patient in the conversations that you're having with these folks, especially if it's a FISBO. They already feel like they've been taken advantage of by a market, that they bought at the wrong time or sold at the wrong time. Everybody else is to blame for the situation that they're in typically. So they're not going to be ready to talk to somebody that's going to lowball what they know the value of their home is. Investors, you're going to have to network a little bit. You're going to have to cultivate an exceptional network of real estate agents and other investors and some professionals that can actually point you in the direction of some of these leads. Direct mail is valuable, but understand 100 mailers to one answer. Again, patience will prevail. FISBOs do not have to follow the same rules as real estate agents for responsibility. I wish they did, but they certainly obviously have proven they do not. So if you're looking specifically for short sales, do not be afraid to call the FISBOs and ask them specifically, is this property currently in financial distress, like a short sale or a pre-foreclosure option? When they hang up the phone with you, that's a no. Don't call them back. Bandit signs. You're probably very familiar with these. Bandit signs are for investors that are seeking investment properties like that. So it's a leader sign that you'll see on the side of the road saying, looking to buy homes, any condition, blah blah blah. They're not going to buy every home that calls them, obviously, but it's a quick phone call for people that are under a serious amount of stress and financial scenario. And then, of course, social media and online marketing. Hate to give Facebook a whole lot of credit in this arena, but Facebook Marketplace does give you plenty of opportunity to be able to see if there's a call to action that includes a viable solution to purchasing a property in financial distress. For those of you that are trying to be successful in selling their home in a short sale, you can take some steps when you're selling a property so that it does move quickly. Do some home staging. Motivated sellers is a good phrasing. Pre-plan a strategy so that you can actually plan through the marketing of the property so that you can coordinate it in addition to how the transaction is going to run through. Stay within 10% of the market value to try to see if you can at least leverage. But anything more than that is going to repel a lot of prospective buyers. Are going to think that there is a whole lot of repairs that are necessary. Offer non-financial incentives, so help with closing costs, repair dues, financial constraints, things like that are not going to be possible for a client that's already in a difficult situation. But maybe a home warranty that may only cost a few $100s is a nice thing to add. Keeping the buyers and sellers informed. This is a gray area, but communications between everybody does need to be maintained. Everybody's busy. You don't want buyers to lose interest. You want to make sure the lender has all the information they need to proceed. It's difficult. Oh, I'm actually getting some interesting questions that have queued up while we're talking today. So, who pays the real estate commission in a short sale? Well, ultimately, it'll be the lender. The lender is going to pay the real estate sales commission from the sales proceeds as a part of the seller's closing costs. The seller will not pay this out of pocket. It is part of the negotiated deal with the lender, part of the total loss package that they're going to pick up. Is a quick sale and a short sale the same thing? No. A quick sale is just something that closes fast. Short sale is going to involve selling the property for less than the mortgage balance. So believe me, that is not going to be a fast scenario. It will often take longer than even a traditional sale time, but quicker sale can certainly be part of the process if the buyer offers enough to satisfy the mortgage debt prior to foreclosure proceedings. And how does a short sale affect your credit? That is 100% between you and the bank if you're selling the property in this situation. You need to negotiate that wisely too. There are banks out there that are understanding that this was a one off scenario for you, and you simply need to be able to get out of their program. It may stop you from buying a home for a while, but at least it'll put you in a situation where you can be a prospective renter somewhere else. So, what's the ultimate guide on what is a real estate short sale? It doesn't exist. If you're an investor, you need to concentrate on due diligence. If you're an agent, if you're a buyer, if you're a seller, you need to know that this is a very nuanced transaction. You need to be open and honest with each other to make things go smoothly. All the parties have to work diligently to make sure that deadlines are met, communications are timely, sellers have to get their documentation to the lender, but ultimately it's up to the bank to proceed. The bank holds all the cards. And if they're not communicating, that's your communication. The bank has not communicated an update this week. I hope everybody understands as we continue down the calendar. If you got some real deep dive questions of what you're looking for, or you need some more information about how to administer a short sale with a creditable real estate agent, give us a call here at Keystone. We're happy to help you out. We realize this is not a scenario that anybody prays their way into. Mostly people would be praying their way out of this. So if you need some assistance, you need some help, you need a moral compass on how you're going to make these offers from the buying perspective, give us a call. We're happy to help out. For those of you that are out in the industry and that you've got a lot of business to do, hey, we're right there with you. You are coming up on the summer close, and we appreciate how busy all of you are. Please be mindful. Kids are getting back into school. Traffic patterns are going to change. People are going to have different needs. Be open and listening to what their scenario might guide you through, and be there for them with the intelligence you've spent so much time, energy, and money crafting. Take care, everybody. God bless, and have a great week.